Hey everybody, my name is Never, and I make the worst WoW videos on YouTube. And I've noticed that there's a couple of questions that keep on coming up. Is it worth getting back into World of Warcraft? Can I still start fresh this late in the game, or is it too late to start? Or I was just thinking of giving the game a try, is it worth it? So I wanted to address those questions today. So what if you're thinking of coming back to the game, or you've even decided to? What's in store for you? Well, there's lots of features. You've got expansions worth of new stuff depending on when you left the game that are really great, like the pre-made group finder. It's kind of like one of those stories where a bunch of random strangers have to work together to survive. You can make a group about anything that anyone in your faction from any realm in your region can join. So it's real easy to get together and do that weird little niche thing you've always wanted to get done. There's bazillions of new quests, I mean like tons of them, like more than you'll ever do. There's new raids and dungeons, and these are really most important when they're brand new, but you can always go back to them and farm the rewards on your own. Or there's also time walking, which is where you can go back in time and fight the dungeons of the past when they were challenging for rewards that you can bring back and use in the present. New battlegrounds, like new versions of Node Control and Capture the Flag and more stuff. There's new holiday events with costumes and presents. There's achievements, which are kind of like this huge, long, involved bucket list of stuff to do. And there's toys. I mean, do I really need to explain how cool these things are? Just look at them. They're amazing. And they're ridiculously fun. And there's transmogrification, also called transmogging, also called T-mogging, also called mogging, also called going tranny. It's like playing dress-ups, but online. For grown-ups. While you fight dragons. It's a full-blown costume system, so you can always look the way you want while you're fighting. Because the clown suits of Burning Crusade and mismatched gear always was a little difficult to use, and come on, you know that you've passed up on upgrades because they looked terrible before. We've all done it. There's cross-realm grouping, which kind of ties in with the pre-made group finder, where you can group up with your friends and play even if they're on other realms, which is wonderful. It's kind of like a long-distance relationship without all the driving. There's pet battles, which is basically Pokemons, where if you've ever wanted to let your cat scratch up the neighbor's wiener dog for barking too much and actually get rewarded for it, that's what it is. And then there's the garrison. I'm just kidding. There's new friends to make, like lots of nice people in the game. It's just the jerks that tend to yell the loudest, but the nice people are there. And then there's all the stuff the game's always had, like old raids and dungeons. And now you can go back and you're super powerful, so you can show the boss who's, well, boss. Dang it. There's old battlegrounds, but there's not 2 week long Ultrek Valley or anything. There's time limits on stuff now, so you don't get caught up in PvP that never ends. There's arenas, and so all that stuff they were doing for the World Championship during BlizzCon, yeah, that's what this is. There's old holiday events, and there's still all the same rewards because I know you still don't have all the mounts yet, so you can still keep going for those. There's gear and classes and spells, which are honestly a lot of fun. I'll never get tired of instant cast flight form as a druid. There's the lore, and because, I need the lore, because I have to give context to the 500,000 some odd people I've killed, or I might collapse in on myself like a dying star. There's roleplay. Remember playing dress up with transmogrification? Well, this is like next level dress up with feelings and emotions and whatnot. There's old friends, sometimes all it takes is showing your friends how much fun you're having for them to want to come back and play too. So the real question is it worth it to you to come back? So consider all of that stuff, and then there's some stuff you might have missed if you want to come back to catch up. So what have you missed? Well, each expansion's kind of like a chapter in time, or like a season to a TV series, or like a series to a TV show for you Brits. That's why there's boosts, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But you can go back and see the old story, and that's kind of like watching seasons to catch up on the show. So each expansion kind of had different stuff that happened, and I covered this in another video, which I'll link in the description, but the way that the community was going is during Vanilla, the original game, everything was new and cool, and so we were all excited about it. During Burning Crusade, we started to kind of figure things out a little bit, but it was still a little wild frontier, and a lot of stuff was still new and unknown. But during Wrath of the Lich King, we kind of figured things out by then, and everything got really mathematical, and we knew exactly what was best. And by Cataclysm, it could really never live up to our expectations because we already knew everything. The content was still great, but we already figured it all out so fast. Miss of Pandaria was kind of like half what we wanted and half kind of weird stuff. There was some unexpected stuff, some of it was strange, some of it was both, but there's still a lot of really good things to do there. Warlords of Draenor really went out on a limb to support the Warcraft movie, but everything kind of went a little off, and we ended up where we are. And where we are now with Warlords of Draenor is the garrison has ended up making a lot of people kind of bored because you end up playing the game from inside one room most of the time. And this overshadows a lot of the good stuff about Warlords of Draenor, so morale's kind of at a low right now. Story-wise, check out that other video that I linked in the description for a recap of the game and the story up to Warlords of Draenor, and then come back here for the continuation, which is, after Miss of Pandaria, Garrosh Hellscream and a bronze dragon named Kairos went back in time to an alternate reality Draenor, and they stopped the orcs from drinking the demon blood of Manoroth. Garrosh then turned those orcs into something called the Iron Horde, and he tried to invade Azeroth in our timeline with them. We stopped the invasion and followed him back through the Dark Portal to the alternate Draenor, where we defeated the Iron Horde and stopped the Burning Legion from taking over Draenor by defeating Archimonde. But Gul'dan, from the alternate timeline, he's still alive, and he got away into the Twisting Nether, and now he's working for the demons. He's made the first steps to allowing the Burning Legion to make a full-scale invasion into our world in our time. So that leads up to the new expansion, Legion, and what's on the horizon for that is awesome. The Burning Legion is going to invade Azeroth, big time. They're going to crash down in a brand new continent called the Broken Isles, which you may remember from some of our older Warcraft games. There's demon spaceships that are going to pour bad guys into zones around Azeroth. We get the new continent, and we go there to try to stop them and uncover a little more lore about the Titans and understand kind of how things all came to be, whether the Legion is like one Legion for all realities or whether it's a bunch of different legions. We're going to get some explanation on that. Some of our big heroes, some of them die or lose hope, and because of that, each of us has to step up, and we're going to wield powerful artifact weapons that are unique for each specialization in the game, like Ashbringer or Doomhammer and a bunch of others, and become the leader of our class. And start these orders to fight the Legion. So each class has an order hall that you, the player, get to be the leader of. All the classes and specs have been kind of updated and redesigned to bring out their core fantasy and identity, kind of like survival hunters becoming melee hunters now, so that's actually a thing and it's not embarrassing. Bear druids aren't going to be about dodging anymore, which never made sense. They're going to be about being big tough bears, and a bunch of other stuff like that. Everyone can freely change between all of their class specializations anytime they want out of combat. No more limitations to just 2 specs or just 1 spec. You can freely change your talents anytime you're out of combat. And there's a new Demon Hunter class, and there's the return of Illidan Stormrage. The outdoor game world in the Broken Isles also scales up to your level no matter what your level is, so everything in the expansion is always relevant to you. And you never need to worry about, well, I can't go back to this place because there's nothing there for me. Dungeons and rewards are also going to scale too, so you don't outgrow them, and there's always a useful path of progression that isn't just raids, or isn't just super hardcore PvP. So Legion, the expansion, looks like a big shining pile of fan service. With all the new things coming, there's never been a better time to come back to the game. And because you can boost your character to a high level, you can start right away with the current content and play with your friends. So there's never been a better time to start playing the game either. So if you're brand new and thinking about trying World of Warcraft out for the first time, here's what the game's about. First thing you do is you make your character, you choose a race, you choose a class, which is basically how you go and do stuff and fight, and then later you choose a specialization, which kind of chooses your role in how you're going to do combat and how you're going to help people in a group. And then you've got talents, which let you really define exactly how you want that role to work. And then you've also got your abilities, which is the things you end up doing all day and the ways you interact with the world. And those lead you to combat, which is just going around and fighting stuff, which is cool. And you do those and use it to complete quests. And the quests lead you to different hubs where a story's going on. And the stories are part of a story in a big old zone. And the zones are all part of continents, which are bigger overarching stories. And they've got dungeons and raids and a lot of stuff to do. And all along you're interacting with other players. You can just meet up with them and help them out here and there. You can form up into a group and go and do stuff together like dungeons. You can get a bunch of groups together and go and make a raid and fight some really big bad guys. Or you can even just queue up for stuff while you're off doing things on your own, and it'll teleport you to where you need to go. You do your group stuff and then you go right back. So you don't have to waste a lot of time traveling around the place. And there's also guilds where you can be with a bunch of people that think like you and want to do the same things as you and work together and always have an open channel of communication with them. And so doing all of that, what's it all for? It's all for discovery, which leads you to an amazing experience, which allows you to progress your character and make your character stronger, which leads you to get some amazing rewards. But the game is really about the experience, and it's a blast. So if you're new, check out the free trial of the game and give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose, and you've got a whole world of experiences to gain. Okay, thanks, bye.